Hi, it's a beautiful day in the Mojave Desert, and today we're visiting the town of Goffs, which sits on Route 66 on Goffs Road, and it is originally part of the railroad station expansion from Needles to Barstow. So let's take a look around and I'll tell you about some of the history here and some of the things we're looking at. We got some old equipment, of course, for farming. So this here looks like an old plow, and you drag it behind a tractor or a horse and kind of steer it through the soil, right? Here we have one of our barrel cacti. This guy here, he's an old outhouse. How about that? Very cool. Let's take a look inside. So anyway, this place, it sits at an elevation of 2,595 feet above sea level, population of 25, and it's known as the desert tortoise capital of the world. So let me tell you about this place. The town of Goffs, it started in 1883 as a simple railroad station and consisted of a turntable and some limited structures needed for dropping off rail cars for the delivery of freight. But it was really established as a settlement in the 1890s when gold was discovered in the New York mountains. And Goffs was the closest shipping point for the mines, so of course it became a little boom town. Wow, so this here is an American Boy 10 stamp mill. Used to be used like in the 1890s, okay? Anyway, here's a little cart here behind us. So down in the mine, like here, right, you kind of fill that cart up with whatever ore you want, and then it kind of goes up this track here to the top. All these little pulleys move around, and it grinds it out and stamps it, and ends up over here in the front, where then you sort it out down here in the little basin, right? You wash it out, and then you get all your gold. All right, some more mining equipment over here too. Now this guy is totally bitchin'. This is a Stotts stamp mill, Baker Iron Works, made in Los Angeles. And this is probably the last remaining original and complete stamp mill in the East Mojave Desert. And over here, all right, this little retaining wall and loading ramp. So it kind of simulates the mountain slope against which the mill would be installed. See that? And you could move the materials up on top of the mill here. It's a giant stamp mill that you might find up in Garlock or Randsburg, ghost towns. So the original name of this place was actually Blake, named after a guy named Isaac Blake, who built the Nevada Southern Railway from here and northwards. The line was used to move goods to the mining districts of Good Springs, Ivanpah, and El Dorado. So in the early 1900s, a lot of members of the Santa Fe Railroad Company, they started to relocate to Blake, which turned into a popular little town. In 1902, Blake was renamed to Goff to be consistent with the alphabetical naming of the rail stops. Like A was for Amboy, B was for Baghdad, C for Cadiz, and so on. In 1914, the Schoolhouse was created and the town's first classes began. So here's the original Schoolhouse of Goffs. I'll tell you about this place. It was built in 1914, designed by the well-known San Bernardino architect Anthony Beimer. It was built with all volunteer labor and materials provided by the county. So it opened the same year in 1914 when the town's first classes began, and it was the only elementary school serving 1,000 miles of rural San Bernardino County from 1914 to 1937. So it averaged about 29 students per year, had only one teacher, and most of the students were Mexican children of the Mexican railroad workers. It was also used as a canteen while soldiers were training out here in the desert from 1942 to 1944. This building is an old mission-style schoolhouse, square plant, one story, wood framed, flat roof with unique red tile covering the eaves. And there's a porch surrounds it on two sides. And the walls are finished in stucco, and it sits on a concrete foundation. Inside there are 3 rooms. There's an 800 square foot classroom with a terrific hardwood floor. It's great for square dances and town meetings. There's 2 smaller rooms and an entry hall. And after the town started to decline in 1931, the schoolhouse was finally closed in 1937. So it fell into disrepair, but 2 couples bought it and rebuilt it into this little museum we find today. Here's some furniture from the old schoolhouse. Right, the schoolhouse opened in 1914, and then it had to close in 1937. Some desks and chairs. This little lane here is called Old School Lane. Here we have a Mojave Road Bus. So this is the legendary 1940s era Mojave Road school bus. Now this bullet-ridden heap of rusted metal was abandoned over 35 years ago along the old Mojave Road north of Goffs within the Mojave National Preserve. And it became quickly a roadside attraction, developed its own cult-like following to countless travelers of Mojave Road, which extends 133 miles west from Colorado River to Camp Cacti. And the bus was removed from the Mojave Road by the Mojave Desert Land Trust when the land was given to the Mojave National Preserve. And then it sat in their parking lot in Joshua Tree until 2019, when it was moved up here for a little display. Check out this old air motor windmill. This is a model 702 12-foot windmill. 702 was the most popular windmill in all of America in the 1900s. Air Motor Company of Chicago. So historically, Goffs sat along the National Old Trails Highway from Barstow to Needles, which would be aligned with Route 66 in 1926. Or of course what John Steinbeck mentioned, or named, the Mother Road. So Goffs prospered for a few years, but in 1931, Route 66 was moved further south, bypassing the town of Goffs forever. Then the town started to disappear. And during World War II, however, the town was home to Camp Goffs, the large U.S. Army depot and training center under General Patton. So for movies, Goffs has a little bit of Hollywood fame, or at least Goffs Road does, which is the historic Route 66, and it was featured in the opening scene of the 1984 classic Repo Man, starring Emilio Estevez. Another old car here, little tow hitch in the back. This is Flat Stanley's car. How about that? Here's a real old gas pump. We got a parking meter. Little device with a hopper on top. Oh, check out this old car. Little flatbed. I don't know. Could be a Chevy. Don't know. Wow. How fun. How fun. So this wooden building here was constructed on the Paiute Creek or Fort Paiute Mojave Road. The fort was constructed by the men of Company D, 9th U.S. Infantry Regiment. So this Fort Paiute, it was established at this location for the protection of travelers and the U.S. mail over the Mojave Road. And the outpost existed from 1867 to 1868 when it was ordered abandoned. A display of rusted old cans. Here. You got some crushed ceramic dishes. Over here, looks like the kitchen. Right? Pots, pans, you know, not a lot has changed over the years, has it? These pots look just like mine in my RV. Little stove. Alright, we got the containers here. Alright, a little frying pan. So if you stop by, make sure you bring one of your little frogs here to donate. Or your little toy cars, right? And over here, look at that.
Oh, gnomes.
We have a bunch of little gnomes. How about that? Here we go. Another engine here. All right, this is a National Transit Pump and Machinery Equipment. Oil City, Pennsylvania. It's a water. It's for a water pump. All right, here we have a Cylindropuntia bigelowii. This is a Bigelow teddy bear jumping cactus. All right, look how glowy he is. And over here, we got another old relic. Hey, check out this old sewing machine here. I bet you that's a Singer. Wow. Everybody needs a sewing machine in the outback country. Here we got some bottle art. Here we got a pencil cacti. Throwing here. Some more ceramic art. That's an old wheelbarrow. Another wheelbarrow. This guy belongs on the railroad. Little warning sign or indicator. There's this little locomotive hand guy. Probably just moving it through the mines. Here's our blacksmith shop. Right? Little grinding wheel. Okay. It's an oven. A little, not sure what this guy is. Here we have an anvil. A little pounding and hammering. Looks like an old Western movie. Here we go. Here, we have some old little rail cars from the mine. Move things up and down the mine shaft.
And the rail's right below you.
Yeah, and here's the rail, right here. Used to go on. Here's some more mining equipment. Right, here's another rail. Here's got another little trolley car. Here's our little Army Surplus Center, right? From the gunnery range. All right, look at these guys. Wow. Here we go. Put your shoe up here to get it polished. All right. Looks like a little thing you tow behind a cart. You know, kind of churn up the dirt. A little oven or a heater. Here. Number 22 yoke bell. All right, maybe for summoning miners or telling the schoolhouse is open. Please attend. Old lamppost here. Here's an old 1921 Buick. Wow, this is beautiful. Look at that. It's got the little Buick nut on the wheel. It's got a rumble seat up here. Buick. So here's a 1928 Graham truck. A little flatbed here. All right, and I bet you this truck is what you're going to find in Grapes of Wrath, the movie from the book written by John Steinbeck. It was filmed out in Needles. You know, when they go out to the fields and everybody sits in the back of the truck, I bet this is what you'll see. So this here might be from a Model T, right? Maybe 1917. I think that's when they're built. Maybe earlier, 1914. Ford Model T. More old gas station memorabilia. Roar with Gilmore. Racetrack stuff. All right, aviation routing beacon. Property of U.S. Air Mail. Used to come by here, right, as Fort Paiute, a tractor. Here's an old mining car. Here we got another windmill. And this is not an air motor. This is a Dempster self-annual oiled windmill. This guy's probably built in the 50s, maybe in the 60s. All right. Here we have some flowering beavertail cacti. Beautiful. So this U.S. Post Office hardware, it came from the Kelso Post Office, the ghost town of Kelso. And that closed in 1989. And here's where it ended up, out in Goffs. Look at that, little mail stops, little P.O. boxes. Okay. It's an old compressor from Pennsylvania Pump and Compressor Company, used in the desert mines. Here's an old railroad communication kiosk. All right, used to find these all along the railway, or the Santa Fe Railway, near the passing tracks and the sidings. Here's a fun pile of bricks is taken out of the Golden Queen mine up in Rosemont, California. There's some more equipment here. Looks like it's some sort of a elevator lift device. Here's some things out in the rail yard. Here's a smelter bucket here. This guy's just a boiler, right? You put it on our trains, old trains. Some signal towers from BNSF. Here we got a water tank. All right. More train equipment. Railroad crossing gate. Wow, this is a giant 20-foot windmill. Wow. More equipment. There's more old vehicles here. It's like a tumbler, some sort, or a ball mill, sometimes they call them. Here we have Ariok McGreen's blacksmith shop, blacksmith's forge shop. Little anvil, right? Vise, little heating oven. Right. Not sure what this guy was for. No blacksmith shop. Hey, and finally, this is our last item to look at. Our Santa Fe Railroad Caboose. about that? Beautiful. All right, well, that's our tour of the town of Goffs on Goffs Road up here at the old Route 66. The town was established 1883 and made it till 1937. All right, I hope you enjoyed the tour of all the beautiful relics out here as well. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.